And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Pug Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Welcome, everyone, to Weighing In. Big John McCarthy, Josh Thompson, Podcast Dave, over there, sunburnt. It's the first day the sun comes out, and look at him. He looks like a lobster right now. I wish you could see him. It's so funny. He looks like a lobster. Oh, man. The sun does never come out in Scotland. You can tell because look at you. A little bit of sun today. And it's like, he's like, his front of his legs are chapped red.
That's all, dude. You see, you're saying that he was out in the sun 5 minutes.
No, it's 5 minutes.
That was
right?
all 5 minutes, and that's what happened.
The reflection off the he said he was on the lake today. The reflection off the lake and then on his legs and those little chicken legs that he has. It's hilarious. Like it's just red all over. Chicken legs. Hey, but hey, these things can do some damage. Those not so much. Oh man. All right. Well, hey, let's talk about the fights that the UFC announced. There's a bunch of them that they announced. Do you want to talk about Fight Island first, or do you want to talk about some fights that they announced? Let's do it.
Hold on. Let's go with Fight Island. Did I not tell you?
What did you tell me?
I told you. The island will be in the Middle East, somewhere in the United Arab Emirates.
Well, I felt like I kind of said that first, but it's okay.
Whoa,
it's okay.
Man.
Well, I think we agreed because didn't they, part of them used to own it, 10% of, right? They used to own 10% of the
Flash
UFC.
Entertainment.
Yeah. So, but we had talked a little bit about, because who did we get it from? We got it from Chael, right? From Chechnya. He was saying that maybe they would do it in Chechnya, not Fight Island.
Yeah.
But he was saying that maybe we'd have some of our first fights come back to be in Chechnya. But
I told him, if they do that, yeah, crazy. I've been there. Don't do it.
I mean, you would really think though that they would have done it in Dubai, like, with one of those man-made islands that they have there, and they would just. But I didn't know the extent of what their relationships was still with them, knowing that the Fertitas didn't own it anymore. So I don't know what WME still had, if they still do, if WME still owns the company fully, or do they still own 10% or 5% or 8% or whatever. So. I'm excited. I think the card that they put together, my concern, the card's fucking stacked. So stacked.
Just don't let it fall apart.
I don't think it's going to fall apart, but here's the thing. In the history of MMA, doesn't matter which promotion you're talking about, in the history of MMA, when you put 3 title fights on one card, John, what normally happens?
Crap fights.
It's shitty. I think the first 2 or 3 times they did it, they all went the distance, and they were the boringness. It wasn't even so much they went the distance, it were good fights. They went the distance and they were boring. They were so boring. I think
first time they ever did it, UFC 33.
Oh, it was horrible. I was there for that fight. I was there. Was that a Mohegan? Where was it at? No, it wasn't Mohegan.
No, that was in Vegas. That was the Vegas, very first show in Vegas. It was Dave Monet and Gil
Castillo.
Gil Castillo. That was for the middleweight. And then they had Jens Pulver against
was it BJ?
No. From Seattle, Washington.
Dennis Hellman.
Chuck Liddell. They had not Chuck Liddell. It's Tito Ortiz and Vladdy Matyashenko.
Well, Chuck was on the card though.
Yeah, he fought Babalu.
Yeah, he fought Babalu.
Yep. No, that was at 41, was it?
No. That was
at 40. That was at 40. UFC 40. He fought Babalu at 40.
Mario Bustamante.
Oh, Bustamante.
He fought Bustamante.
And Matt Serra fought Yves Edwards.
Ooh, I don't remember that fight.
It was all 5-round decisions.
Yeah, all the title fights were decisions. No, but every time they've done, except for the last one, I think the very last one they did with 3 title fights on one card. 2 of the title fights were they were finishes. And then the other one was like kind of a good action-packed 5-round decision, as I recall. I think 2 of them were finishes. But that was the first time they've done, the last one was the first time they've done 3 title fights, and it was actually a good card. Whereas before, they were horrible. I was like, man, why do you guys keep trying to do this? This is disgusting. Don't do it anymore. But just to lay claim, like there was another, I want to say, I don't know if Strikeforce tried doing it or did maybe Bellator try doing like 2 or 3 title fights in one night, and it was an egg too. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what it was. One of the other big shows tried doing 3 title fights in one night as well, and it ended up being kind of a goose egg also.
I think didn't Bellator try to do it in their first show in New York?
I think you might be right.
I don't know. Yeah,
anyways, it was. I think it was. Honestly, I think it was. I don't think Strikeforce ever did 3 title fights, but I think it was Bellator. We did a 3 title fight thing, and it wasn't. I don't think it was great. So, and I just like, oh no, it's the curse of 3 title fights. Just that, anyways.
Every time.
It was every time. It was every time. So what fights are on that card? Let's talk about that fight card because I have it.
Main event. Usman versus Burns. Come on.
All right. So are we talking?
That's kind of cool because they're teammates.
Are we talking about the fight? Or are we talking about all the other stuff that goes with the fight?
Everything. Come on. Man.
Okay.
All about it.
Do I think Burns deserves a title shot? Yes. But do I think someone should have been ahead of him? Yes. I think he should have. I think he either could have taken one more fight to get there. But I'm not complaining that he's there. I just feel like someone should have been ahead of him.
And who is that someone?
Well, there's 2 guys, actually, to be honest. Okay. I would have probably liked to have seen him and Colby go again, Usman and Colby go again.
Okay.
Only because it was such a good fight. And I think kind of
it was a great fight.
I think kind of also we could see like, do we push Colby out now? We're done with the MAGA shit and we can move on to like some fights. But I mean, I think that there's still something there to have. But I really wanted to see the Masvidal Usman fight. I really wanted to see it because Masvidal has good takedown defense. I think his stand-up is way superior. The way that Masvidal uses that calf kick, the way he uses his kicks, I think is be a nasty weapon against Usman. That'll slow his takedowns down as he goes on. Size-wise, Usman, I think, is the bigger guy. And would be able to, no doubt, put the pressure on him, be able to. And Usman showed that he doesn't really get tired. He showed against Colby that he doesn't get tired. Masvidal tends to slow down, but it's the boxing, putting it together, the footwork. I've seen Masvidal make good stand-up guys look like they never fucking fought a day in their life on their feet. Like, look at KJ Noons. When he fought KJ Noons, I was like, oh my God, someone needs to stop this fight. KJ walked out of there looking like the fucking Elephant Man. He was so beat up, and I was baffled by the fact, I'm like, dude, I thought this was going to be a good fight. It was never close. And I know I'm talking old days. And Masvidal has gotten better since then and just smarter in the way he fights and his approach on things. Now, the money-wise and all that stuff, I get it. I understand.
That's why the fight never took place.
Yeah.
Burns,
he's willing to do it.
Will take the money that Masvidal says no to.
But this gets into that conversation that we had last week about how athletes, if you guys ever want to get a leg up, you're stepping on your own dicks right now. You guys, this is the whole point. This is when we had that conversation about how there will always be someone that will fight for less, and the promotion knows it. Yep. And it's hard, man. It really is hard. I want them to. I want athletes to have the best. I want the fighters to have the best, because I'm going to touch into this a little bit, is because Tim Sylvia, look at right now, he's got a GoFundMe page to have surgery on his forearm to get the screws taken out. Like, there's things that fighters and athletes, they don't think about right now because you're young, dumb, full of cum, all that shit, thinking that like, okay, when I'm 40, I'm still be the fucking best. No, probably not. Probably not. You're going to be in, probably having to go to visit the doctor because you have lasting injuries and banged up elbows and knees and ankles and, and you're going to have to get those things taken care of. And it's better to try and do it now, but you don't want to miss out on a paycheck because you're not, if you get it fixed now, then you're missing on a year and a half of training and getting back in the stride and doing all those things. So I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. I saw something today where NBA players said there was an NBA player, a younger NBA player, the younger generation of NBA players. I think it was NBA. Maybe it was NFL. Anyways, they had said, like, look, we're not asking for a lot of money afterwards. but we would like our health insurance taken care of. That's not a fair, that's a fair argument. If you pay for my health insurance for however long, let's just say, until you're 60. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number. I'm honestly just, but if you were to take care of,
that's about the time you start to need it.
But you don't understand what I'm saying. Like if you take care of my health, let's just say you have to have 10 fights in the UFC and we'll take care of your health insurance for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? Like I feel like because Tim Sylvia's been out of the game for what? 10 years?
Yeah.
I mean, he was fighting for a while,
he was fighting, but
out of the UFC.
He's been out of the UFC for that.
Over 10 years probably.
Well, I figure he was out of the UFC and he fought for Affliction, and that was like in 2007.
Okay. So my thing is, I said that's actually, if you're gonna come to the UFC, they're already paying for their big major surgeries, $1,500 deductible. I think that's probably one of the best deals that any promotion's ever done. I think I tip my hat to them for that because I use that several times. I think that if you're gonna come to them saying like, hey, I want a bigger piece of the pie, that will shorten the bigger piece of the pie. If you say, hey, I get insurance for, I'm just throwing out numbers. I mean, like, for the next, I don't even know how long, man. But I mean, it's a good step in the right direction. It's a good step in the right direction to say, hey, long-term wise, I need you to help me with my insurance. And it's fair to say if you've been a champion or if you've been someone that's had 10
we were
fights.
Supposed to be talking about Fight Island, but let's talk about Tim Sylvia real quick.
I brought him up. I fucked it all up.
But you brought him up. Do you think that the UFC should pay for the surgery to correct the infection that's now in his arm due to the screws backing out from the plate that was put in there when Frank Mir broke his arm during that fight? Do you think the UFC now, basically 20 years later, should be paying for that? Did they not pay for it the first time?
Yes.
Okay, so they paid for it the first time.
You're going to say no? Are you saying no?
No, not at 20 years.
You say they shouldn't have to pay for it.
Look, I'm giving money to Tim for his surgery, okay? And
you're a good man.
I feel bad that he has to do that. Well, I feel bad that he has to, go through it, but to sit there and say, "Oh, the UFC owes for a surgery that took place 20 years ago, and now that they should take care of it again." Come on, that's
okay. Can I play devil's advocate?
Being honest, it just doesn't look. I don't see it.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Sure.
Okay, because I've heard I do that pretty well. Okay.
I mean, the nice thing is to say yes, they should. They'll take care of it. Okay. That's nice.
Okay.
But I don't think they owe it. At 20 years,
I can't say that they owe it. I'm just simply saying, like, wouldn't it be nice to say, like, hey, if I broke my ankle in the cage, that if I had a plate put in, or I had screws put in, or I had whatever it is, like wire put in, I have screws in my knees, right? And I have two screws in my knee, in my patella. I have wire that connects it and puts it all together. That's still in there. If those screws tend to come out, like whatever, like it would be nice to say, hey, if I suffered the injury in the UFC and something like that needs to be taken care of, that you will take care of that. That's it. Like, I'm not saying you need to pay for my back problems. And if I never had back problems in the UFC, now you got to pay for it. No. If I have something going on with my eyes, no, that's not your response. I never had problems in the UFC at the time with that. Then no, you shouldn't have to pay for it. But I'm throwing it out there because, like I said, I've said this last week and the week before, I will continue to be on the side of the fighters because I know, being a former fighter, knowing that at the time when you're young and dumb and full of cum and you think that you can live forever and like conquer the world and do all these things, you think the money's going to last forever. And John, you and I have had this conversation forever. These guys think the money's going to last forever. It's not.
I know.
It's not going to last forever. It's not going to probably last 4 or 5 years because you guys are not making fucking anything. You are not making anything at all. None. John Jones, if he doesn't do something outside of what he's doing now, after he retires, if he's apparently retired now, whatever it is, if he is done, he will, I would say probably within 10 years, he might be broke. Unless he's done some good investments. I'm not, that's what I'm saying. I guess, I'm speaking from experience myself. I've owned a gym. I do a clothing line. We do the podcast, we have things, little things that
We don't make no money.
You're right. We don't make any money, but we're getting close. So, but my point is in that process, like there's things that are going to be, there are things that are generating money for you outside of whatever it is you're doing fighting wise. These guys think that it's going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. It's going to last 7 to 10 years. And until if that, and I don't care if you made millions, it's not going to last forever unless you have made proper investments to carry you into that next area. And a lot of them, they haven't made enough to even make that investment. That's the problem. A lot of them are like their paycheck. Like I said, you buy investment properties, you got to put 120, 150,000 down. Well, that's at least 1 or 2 fights for a lot of them. Gray Maynard came out today and said, like, for the Frankie Edgar title fight, he made 47 and 47. That's fucking ridiculous.
Wow.
So when people were like criticizing me when I was fighting in Strikeforce, and I'm like, dude, I was making almost double that. And that's what's scary. When everyone's like, oh, you were in the B-level show. Yeah, I was in the A-level show when it came to pay. I was in the A-level show when it came to making money. That, you know, so.
Perception.
Yes.
Josh,
yeah.
perception is reality. If people perceive it to be, then it is. Even when it's not.
Yeah. So fighters, if you guys are listening, shorter contracts, free market agency. Just start following what the bigger leagues are doing. Darrell Rivas signed 2 one-year deals with the New England Patriots, won the Super Bowl, and just cashed out and went to whatever team it was the next after that. And he went to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Won the Super Bowl 1 year, lost one, and then went to another team and cashed out and made a ton of money for a 2 or 3 year contract there. You guys pay attention to what these other athletes are doing in other leagues and follow suit. They've got millions of dollars spent on lawyers helping them make the right decision and cashing out on what's best for them. You got to pay attention. You got to see like, hey, that guy over there, LeBron's doing 1 and 2 year deals with a no trade clause and I'm not
when you're making LeBron type money. Yeah. But if you are fighting, I used to tell guys this, take whatever you're making and you're going to break it into quarters. Okay. You can take 2 of those quarters and you're going to give them to the government.
Very true.
You're going to take 1 of those quarters and you're going to put it into savings or into an investment, and you're going to take that last quarter and that's what you get to spend. That's what you get to live off of.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just the truth.
Well, you forgot the 5th quarter that goes to your agent and your trainer.
Well, that's part of the quarter, the half that goes to the government.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, so I try to tell fighters, I try to tell the young fighters, you got to keep that in consideration. You got to look at the other athletes and what they're doing. Sometimes you got to bank on yourself. And I use myself as an example, and not in a good way either. Okay. Is I banked on myself with the Benson fight and it backfired, you know? But you have to believe in yourself though. And I don't have any regrets. Okay. I don't have any regrets.
I never have a problem with someone betting on themselves.
Yeah.
That's what life's about.
Yep. Because
you got to take chances. You're not always going to win in those chances.
Yeah.
But if you don't take the shot, you'll never know.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
you know,
you're never going to succeed if you don't try.
Yeah, I just want the best for the young athletes who are thinking that I have to sign an 8 and 10 fight deal. No, you don't.
Well, see, they're looking at that as security. They look at it as if I sign that 8 or 10 fight deal, I'm secure that I'm going to get all those fights without even considering the thought that it's a one-sided contract and the fact that they can release you after the very first fight or even before the first fight. They can release you at any time during it. So you really don't have any more security.
No, you don't. If you have one false. Really shitty performance, or if you miss weight by 5 or 6 pounds and they don't like your attitude, they'll cut you. They don't have to fight you. They'll just be like, nah, you're done. You didn't follow the agreement to the contract was you would come prepared to fight as a professional and that you would make weight. They can cut you at any moment during that time if they want. And so that gets on to, you know, I know we were talking about Tim. I started talking about Tim Sylvia and the situation, but I feel like it would be nice if it's a step in the right direction instead of saying like, hey, give us 25% of the purse or 30, 40, 50% of the purse of the actual pie. why don't we start with something like that? Give me, I think you said, we were saying like they make what, 12% right now, right? Of the pie. 12 to 15%.
15%.
Give them 20%. Give them 20% and say like, hey, let's work on your medical stuff.
So you want lifetime medical?
I mean, with regards to whatever serious injuries that I have inside the cage, yeah, I think that would be fair to say. I mean, like I've got a metal plate in my ankle with 9 screws, you know, and I eventually one day I got to get it out probably, so I don't end up with the screws backing out and getting infected and anything like that. I mean, I understand the situation. I get it. I understand. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll live and I'll stay there forever and won't have any problems with it. But you know, there's a chance that maybe I won't. So, all right, let's get back to Fight Island. So Fight Island is main event. You say Usman Burns.
Yep.
The two of them train together.
Do they not?
I feel that Burns, being as confident as he is to say I'll fight him, makes me believe that he has pretty good success against him in the gym.
From what I've been told, he does very well in the gym. In regards to now, when it's wrestling day, obviously Usman does a little bit better.
Of course.
Okay. Of course he does.
But this is a fight.
But exactamundo. And so my real question in this is, okay, now you are Henry Hoof. Whose corner are you, man?
The same approach that Javier Mendez says. If my two guys have to fight, I just sit back and watch.
Not in any corner.
Nope. I sit back and watch. And what you do is
a rough one.
And it is rough. But what you do is you say, hey, you basically, when we had talked about it at AKA,
so Kami Barzini goes to one corner and
yep.
All right, I got it.
So the way we broke it down, I think at AKA, it was like, hey, who would you like to have in your corner? So like for me, I would have had probably Trevor Prangley, Bob Cook and Hav were out. So I probably would have had Trevor Prangley, and then I probably would have like makeshift a couple guys that I would have wanted for grappling and whatever it was, depending on who I was fighting in the gym. So like if it would have been Khabib, I probably would have said, hey, you know what? I want Dave Camarillo and I want Trevor Prangley, and I probably would have picked, you know, a wrestling guy, you know, someone in there, depending on who I was fighting from the gym. If it was Khabib, I would have for sure picked a wrestling guy, submission guy, and then Trevor being the guy to give it to me straight in the corner like a Bob Cook. That's kind of how it would have been. So like I think with Gilbert Burns and with Usman, I don't know who Henry Hoof's going to work with. I think he should step out and not get complicated in the situation. You guys are fighting. I'm going to step aside. You guys pick who you can. And if the coaches don't feel comfortable, don't be mad at them. Just let them be. Maybe pick some of your teammates. You guys corner each other. You know, I would imagine they have different. I know it is.
And it's a rough one for Henry Hoof if you think about it, because then he doesn't get a payday.
I don't know. You think that's how it works?
Sure.
I would have still paid. I still would have paid Hob and Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I would never got to the title without them. So I can't take it away from them then. No. I would have just probably divvied up the cornering to the other guys a little bit less and given that I would have split it equally amongst Bob and Hob and whoever else I had. Bob and Hob would have always got paid. Trevor would have done it for free. Dave Camarillo, I would have paid, and whoever the wrestling person was, I would have paid. But Trevor probably would have done it for free, or I would have paid Trevor out of my own pocket because he's my best friend. You know what I mean? Like that kind of situation.
Just so you know, you're paying all those guys out of your own pocket.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what I mean? Like if there was outside of that 10% of splitting it up and whatever it is. Anyways, but I think stylistically it makes for a great fight because it's probably going to keep Usman from having to wrestle too much because he doesn't want to be on the ground with Gilbert.
No, he does not.
He does not want to be on the ground with Gilbert. And sure, I'm sure he's had some success with Gilbert on the ground. He's probably figured out some of his game. But we have to remind people, man, like Allen Iverson said, we're talking about practice. When it comes down to the fight time and the shots are real, the punches are real, the submissions get slapped on faster, and we're fighting in little gloves, not in 16-ounce gloves. We're getting dirty and getting in there. I really like Gilbert's chances of being the champion.
He's got a good chance.
I think he's got a. I think speed-wise, it goes
especially
to him.
The way he's been fighting.
Speed-wise goes to him on the feet. The way he mixes it up on the feet, I think, as well. The size definitely goes to Usman. The grappling goes to Gilbert. The wrestling goes to Usman. But I think the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu kind of cancel each other out. I think to the point where I wonder if Usman's going to try to stand with him. like he did against Colby.
I think it's going to be the repeat of the Colby Covington fight. I think you're going to see Usman saying, I'll use my wrestling not to take you down. I'll use my wrestling to keep this on the feet and beat you in the stand-up.
I don't know if he can.
He can. He's got more power. One of the things that Gilbert does is Gilbert loads up.
Yeah.
You can see him loading up. And so that load up will give you time to counter and to do things. And Usman is athletic, he's fast, and he is big for 170 pounds.
He's enormous.
Okay, he is Douglas Lima big.
Yeah.
For the 170-pound weight class. He's going to make Gilbert Burns look small in that fight. You're going to see a noticeable difference. So he does have that going for him, and he does have the fact that he's got a gas tank, man.
Yeah.
For a guy that carries that much muscle mass, and he carries a lot, he's got game, man. He continues to go.
Yeah, I was surprised that he is, because I felt like when I watched him early in his career, he didn't have the gas tank that he has as of lately.
No, he didn't, because he didn't understand how to pace himself.
Yeah.
He didn't understand where to find those places that he could rest. And that's just fight IQ. And now that he's got it, Woodley had that problem forever. In the beginning of his career, if you think about it.
Yeah, I don't know if Woodley ever got over that. I don't know if he
when he could control the pace.
Yes.
He could relax. When he couldn't control the pace, different thing.
Tension, it stresses him out, I think, and it just jitters. Like you just get amped up too much.
Co-main event, Fight Island.
Who is it?
Come on.
I'm looking at it, man. Come on. Volkanovski and Max. I actually just did an interview.
Yeah, the repeat.
I did an interview for Hawaii for that. In what's it called? With the news station there. Just 2 days ago? Yeah.
Who wins that one?
I said Max.
So do I.
Yeah. I said
he
Max.
Learned.
Yeah.
You could see where he was making adjustments in the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming back. Time kind of ran out on him. But I think Max gets that belt back. But it's a good fight again.
It's going to be a good fight. Here is the thing that makes me... Where is Max's confidence? Lost to Dustin Poirier, lost to Volkanovski. When you're rolling and you're the champ, we rolling. Like that kind of stuff, right? It's when you're doing this, it's easy to be confident. Everything's working for you. He went back to the drawing board. I think this whole COVID thing has given him an opportunity, a chance for him to refocus and also kind of go back and reevaluate how he needs to, what little tiny changes he needs to make. I feel like he doesn't need to make much. He needs to work on checking the kicks. That's one. And two is he needs to realize that Volkanovski will still be there in the fifth with good conditioning, good cardio, and he needs to mix things up to make Volkanovski use more energy. Don't let Volkanovski dictate the pace like he did in the first fight. That's what happened, was he let him dictate everything, and I think Max thought he was going to get tired, and he never got tired. He slowed down a tiny bit in the fifth, but I didn't think it was noticeable enough to make a difference. But I feel like when I talked to the reporter for Hawaii, we were talking, and I said, Max is someone who he has made progress throughout his career. When he lost to Conor, he came back and he changed a little bit of what he was doing. And ever since then, he progressively got better, started changing angles, started using more footwork, started using stopping takedowns a lot more, started wrestling a little bit more. In the Poirier and the Volkanovski fight, he got away from a little bit of grappling, a little bit of wrestling. He needs to mix that in. He needs to make Volkanovski fear it, not worry, not in terms of I'm going to get taken down, but at least think about it. Have it on his mind. And I continue to say, it's called MMA, man. Mixed martial arts. You got to mix that wrestling in, mix that judo in, mix his jiu-jitsu. He's got to mix it all together, not just be a boxer.
Yeah, the more elements you bring in, the more you make the other fighter have to deal with those elements, which makes the fight harder. If I only have to deal with one element, that's easy for me. If I have to deal with two elements, it becomes more difficult. I have to deal with three elements. Now I'm guessing, and the fight becomes much more difficult.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think if Max changes just a couple little things, it's a different fight, and his length and his range that he has an advantage with will be a difference maker in this fight.
I want to see him get back to cutting the corner. Like,
thank you.
Cutting the corner,
Totally.
sticks thick, maybe get to the takedown, not get to the takedown, whatever it is. But he's got to cut the corner.
Especially because you'll see Max come in, and Max likes to lead, and sometimes he'll switch stances, but he goes left, right, and push off, and he'll bring that right back again.
Yep.
He needs to continually do that because Volkanovski lunges at times.
Mm-hmm.
He makes these big lunging motions to add power and try to be explosive. And if you can catch him in that moment, he's off balance with it, and you can tag him and get out without being hit. That's how you win fights.
Yeah, he likes to. The reason why he lunges is to cover that distance because he's a shorter guy normally.
Shorter guy. Yep.
So yeah, but I mean, that to me, I felt like Max got to get back on track. The question is, if Max wins, do they give Volkanovski a title shot right away? Because now you're holding up that title even longer for that. You got
a lot of good fighters.
You have a lot of good fighters that are waiting in the back, in the back of the line there, and or next in line. But I gotta tell you, it depends on how this fight goes. I wouldn't be mad to see the fight go to see a third fight, because the first fight was good. It was a good fight.
It was really good.
I think it was because it was so impressive what Volkanovski was able to do to Max, and Max coming off the loss, I felt like he wasn't his normal confident self that we normally had seen. I think now with the amount of time he's had to get back in the gym, make some changes, regroup, kind of just probably be around family, do whatever he needs to do. Now, like, you know what? I'm back. Let's get this going. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. This is the fight, I think, unless I'm missing one, but I think this is the fight that I'm probably most excited to see.
It's a good one. That one. This is a rematch that needs to happen because the first fight was close. It was good. I think on most cards, I think it was 48-47, but this is Max is a guy that you look at. He was an outstanding champion. He took on a lot of good competition, and he deserves the rematch here against Volkanovski. And if Volkanovski can beat him twice, that is saying a ton.
Yeah.
It's saying a ton.
It is. It is. The next fight is Jose Aldo, right? And Peter Yan.
Yeah.
Yep. We touched on this last week, and I'm going to continue to say this, and people are going to continue to say that I'm an idiot and I'm stupid and all these other things. They need Jose Aldo to fight this fight because
and this is the one thing I'm going to tell you is they killed what you were saying because what you were saying was correct. I'm going to say yes, Josh, you're right. They need Aldo's name for that fight. But not on this card.
Not on this card. Not on this card. Yes, they did. When I was just saying it right now, I was actually going to say but then they put it on this stacked card and just fucking blew everything I was saying. So yeah, you are correct.
Yep.
Yes. Yep, that is right. But had it been a main event somewhere else, they would have needed him. But but
I agree.
I still got to believe though that it brings a lot more recognition, like they're trying to do 3 title fights. It's good to have Aldo on there. The other thing too is I will continue to say is even if it was Sterling, sure they wouldn't need him for this fight, but you're gonna need him for the next fight. If he beats Sterling for the title, for the vacant title, to sell him to the next competition, it's not going to be as easy for him to main event something. Him beating Aldo makes it easier for them to put him as a main event on another card. And I feel like if they were going to make it a main event now, then it would have carried itself along with probably a good undercard, a good co-main event or something. But it would have been okay, name draw Jose Aldo. Who's this Peter Yan guy? He's obviously super tough. Getting to fight Jose Aldo. The fact that they're on this card that's stacked with 3 title shots and they're one of them, it means that if Aldo wins, sure we can sell that because that's Jose Aldo. But if Aldo loses, that means Peter Yan now can go to main event material because he beat Jose Aldo. If he beat Sterling or he beat whoever else is next in line, if he beat one of those guys on this card for the title, you wouldn't be able to main event him probably for the next show. another one like coming up next. He'd have to probably be a co-main event on something else. Just my thought, my 2 cents. I mean, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I look at it. Is if I'm a promoter, I'm looking at it that way.
No, I don't disagree with you. The real question is which Jose Aldo comes. Which one is the guy that's going to step into that cage? Who are we going to see? Because I'm being honest, if he fights at 135 pounds like he did with the energy that he had against Marlon Moraes, Jan's got his hands full. I love Peter, and he's tough, and I've done his fights, and he's a stud. But Aldo is a stud too, man. And if he fights with that same energy, he can walk away with that belt.
I would be very impressed if he did that. I would be very. And I follow Jose Aldo on Instagram, and he's been doing a lot more kicking. So it doesn't mean he's going to kick in his fight, but it doesn't mean
that's one of the elements he has to bring back.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Look at Peter Yan is not a guy that goes into the wrestling game. He doesn't go for takedowns. Yeah, he will, but it's not his main. It's not his bread and butter. His bread and butter is to stand up and outstrike you with technical striking. So he does not normally go for takedowns. That's not his thing. So Aldo, if you try to beat Peter Yan with pure boxing, which Aldo has been trying to basically bring into the cage, you're not going to do it. He better bring those kicks with him because he's got incredible kicks, powerful kicks, and he's going to need every one of them against Yan.
I think his kicks, I think he needs to bring his knees back too, his flying knees, his jumping knees. He needs to bring those back as well. If he brings those back.
Cub Swanson out with the flying knee?
Cub Swanson, he threw that knee against Chad Mendez on the turn from the double, Chad tried to shoot right off the break. If he brings those kind of weapons, he doesn't have to throw them all the time, but he needs to at least keep that fresh in Peter Yan's mind that they're there. I think the speed factor goes to Jose Aldo as well. I think Jose is faster than Peter Yan. And I don't know about power-wise. Technically, I think Peter Yan's the better boxer, but I think Aldo has got the speed, and I think he's probably got a little bit of the power over him. So if he connects with him on, whether it's kicks or, with boxing, he's got a good chance of putting him away. I mean, he should be physically the bigger guy too at 135. Should be.
No doubt about it. Should be way bigger.
I'm rooting for the old dog. That's just me. I'm rooting for the old dog.
Old? He's only 33 years old.
I know he's only 33, but fucking, he seems like he's been fucking
fighting a long time.
Yeah, people writing him off. People writing him off left and right. And I want to remind him, he had a good fight against Marlon Moraes. A great fight, I mean, and that was his first fight at 35. That he had to go through the weight cut and trying to figure out his body in camp. I personally think that he looks a little bit better at 35, which I never thought I would say. Because remember, there was a lot of talk for a while of him going to 55. Yes. Because he couldn't keep his weight down. And I'm like, then you're going to 35. It doesn't make any sense. But physically, his frame is not big enough for 55, especially now. If you look at the guys at 55, you're like, good God, they're so fucking big. It's disgusting. It's like, I'm like, how the hell do you guys make weight? Since if you stand next to Islam Makhachev, you're like, good fucking Lord. He's 5'11", almost 6 foot, just ripped and shredded, and you look at Jose, and Jose, he's not a big guy. He's got a little bit of muscle on him, but he's not a big guy. 35, I think, was the good place for him. The fact that he looked so good against Marlon Moraes at 35, I hope it carries over. But can he do it for 5 rounds? That's the thing.
The question.
He was able to do it for 3 against Marlon Moraes, but he still lost. So, anyways, I'm excited for that fight. Those are the 2 fights. The Gilbert Burns fight excites me, but not as much as the other 2 fights. Not as much as those 2 fights. Max Holloway and Volkanovski. Nah, I love them all. I'm not turning them off because Usman and Burns are fine. I'm not turning it off. I'm just saying,
Holloway Volkanovski's done. I'm turning it off.
Yeah.
Don't care about Burns.
Yeah, a little bit of me too also favors the little guys because I was the little guy for the longest time. I try to favor the little guys. But I'm excited to see that fight, man. I'm excited to see those 3 fights. Who else is on that card? There's another couple other good fights on that card.
Rose and Andrade.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You got a repeat of Rose Namajunas against Jessica.
She's my favorite.
Repeat of the knockout.
She's my favorite. Rose.
Knockout slam.
The Rose Namajunas. She's my favorite, though. She's my favorite.
She's nice. That was one of the best moments ever.
Yeah.
But
Jessica's a sweetheart
good
too.
everywhere. Oh yeah, Andrade, she's
a sweetheart
outstanding.
as
But
well.
she was getting lit up by
Yeah.
Rose for most of that fight, and so all Rose has to do is eliminate one mistake.
Yeah,
Go
don't.
back to what you were doing. Go back to the same game plan, and if she grabs a hold of you, okay, fight the takedown. If you're going to be taken down, protect yourself in that takedown and work your way up, from that point.
Yeah, let go of the Kimura. Come on. That's like
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu 101. Like, let go of the triangle. If they lift you up in the triangle, let it go.
If you're being elevated, let the triangle go.
Yeah, Quentin Jackson, Arona, right? Was it Arona?
Oh,
It was, right? Well, come on, let go of the triangle. Like, you'll get to keep fighting if you do. It was one of those situations. Rose, I feel like a little bit of that length and reach and all those things that we talk about for MMA athletes, she has it all. And she's got fucking dogs in her hands, man. She's got the dogs. And I just, and her personality, her, I love it, man. Like when she gets on the mic, I'm like, yeah, there you go.
She's well rounded. Her ground game is really good.
Yeah.
She swings into submissions from the bottom very well. She's just good, and she's only getting better still. So, again, eliminate one mistake. I think you have a very good chance of coming out with a victory in a fight that you had previously lost.
If Rose wins, do you see her beating Weili?
Man, yeah, I think that she has a style that can beat Weili. Look at, she beat Joanna twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
Second time was hard though.
Yeah, it was hard, but she beat her twice.
Yeah.
Knocked her out in the one, took a decision, and Joanna, she came close to winning that fight with Weili. So, yeah, obviously MMA math, you can't, break it down, but do I think Rose has a chance? Yeah, I think she's got a very good chance against Weili. I think she matches up well, and I think her length in that 115-pound division against Weili, who is pretty short, and her reach isn't real long. I think Rose has a little bit of an advantage there. Now, I think Weili brings power, and she has a good ground game. But again, Rose has an outstanding ground game. So if she takes her down, it's not like, she's got a big advantage. She could be in danger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a Rose fan, so I'm going to be cheering for her. I like Jessica.
You're going to be a homer.
Too. Yeah, I am going to be a little bit. God, why am I? I think I've only met her like once or twice. I just am passing, like, hey, how are you? Yeah, but I do like her. I do like the fact that she really won me over the first Joanna fight when she just didn't let any of that stuff get to her, and they went out there and starched her. I was like, oh yeah. So what's the next fight on that card?
Paige and Amanda Ribas.
Paige Van Zandt.
Paige Van Zandt against Amanda Ribas.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with Ribas. So can you talk to me, Goose?
She's good. She's very, she's got a solid stand-up game. Mm-hmm. She's quick. She's got good kicks. She moves well, and her ground game is not bad. Now, I'm being honest. I'm not sure against Paige if the ground is where she wants to be. I think she's going to want to keep this fight on her feet and just try to outstrike Paige and move around and pick her apart. But, there's been other fighters, like Michelle Watterson, who you looked and you said, I think, that's what Michelle's going to do. Michelle went to the ground with her and choked her unconscious. So, Ribas is good.
Huh.
Paige is definitely going to be the underdog in this fight.
Yeah, I think the inactivity of Paige, she hasn't been very consistent. Like, she's been a little bit up and down.
Well, she had that broken arm that
she's still dealing with.
She basically had the same problem that you had with your ankle. She's had with her arm.
That sucks, man. Such a pain in the ass. It's such a pain in the ass, especially like when you're doing well, and then all of a sudden something like that happens and it just starts setting you back, and you really can't get into a rhythm again, training and stuff. So, I also think though too they give her Ribas because it is a really tough fight for her. She's on her last fight of her contract, and they know what they're trying to do.
She said that she's going to go see what her value is. So they're like, okay, let me give you somebody that's going to probably give you an L. That's the way they're looking.
Yeah. I mean, that's smart on the promotion's part. That's smart on the promotion part. Yeah. I mean, Paige, she's got a lot of injuries. She's been training through a lot of injuries. She's been trying to make it work. I don't think we're going to see the same Paige Van Zandt for a while. She's got to get into a groove of get a win, continue to like keep winning. She's got to get into that.
One of the things that, everyone, I don't know what it is, but people don't give her credit for the things that she's done. You take a look at her last fight against Rachel. I mean, she fought a good, she's a tough girl.
Yes, she is.
She is, she has got no quit in her. She does not stop. She doesn't cower. She doesn't back down. I give her credit. They can put her against Rebus. And like I said, I think Rebus will definitely be the odds-on favorite to win the fight. But the best part about being Paige is you can prove everybody wrong because she definitely can win that fight. She just has to fight a smart fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wonder, I'm going to get into this free market agency. I wonder what the dollars are. I really do. I wonder what the dollars are going to be because you can look at it a couple different ways. She can come to Bellator and she'll probably end up fighting Alima Lay. What's the other girl? Velasquez. I can't remember. Juliana Velasquez. I was going to call her Jessica. I don't know why. Juliana Velasquez. She's fucking good too. From Bellator, or she can go over to one and she can fight over there as well. And there's a lot of tough girls that are over there as well. You got Michelle Nicolini, you've got Angela Lee, you've got talented young women that are over there that would make for very interesting fights as well. So, and I know the market, like the money is going to be probably double what she's making now in the UFC for her. Yeah. Doesn't matter which other promotion she goes to, they're going to be willing to pay. So it'll be good. I mean, this is my point, and I will continue to go back to this. It's the free market agency, and I wish more fighters would check it out. What do you think?
I don't know, man.
You don't
know.
Hey,
did you see the thing come out on ONE FC and how much money they are in the hole?
Is there any surprise? Here's the thing.
That's scary. I want them to survive. But
I want to know. This is what I want to know. I want to know how they've been able to survive this long. It's a weird situation. Like they've been talking for a long time. I worked for them for 2 years. I know. They've been talking for a long time about how, like, not them, but people. The buzz has been like, how are they still even a show? Like, no idea. Like, there's only a couple cities. When I worked a show for them in Manila. I worked a show for them in 3 shows in Singapore, Beijing, Kuala Lumpur, where else? Jakarta. Anyways, I worked a bunch of shows for them. The only show there was 2. Manila was a pretty big show, and Singapore. All the other shows were small. Like Beijing was the first time they ever went, but Beijing there was maybe 1,000 people, maybe, and 2 chairs on the right and 2 chairs on the left of every row was the Chinese police. Of every row, there was probably 300 police officers there. 300. I mean, so out of the 1,000 people that came, there's probably only about 700 that actually bought tickets or came. It was strange. It was very strange. We stayed in a really nice fat hotel though. It was very nice. Very nice. As long as you're a team, right? It was very nice. But I don't know. I don't know how they stay going. They've got a great group of people that work for them. They've got Misha Tate. I'm going to always list her first. They got Rich Franklin. They got Matt Hume. They've got, obviously, DJ fights for them. He's a fucking phenomenal person and a great person. I mean, they've got a bunch of really good, talented, Brandon Vera's there. They've got a bunch of really good, talented people that are there, and they're great people. I don't know where they're getting the money. That's one. And 2 is, like, where's the money going? Like, I don't know. I don't know how they're making it. But I agree with you. I hope they don't go anywhere. I want them around. I want them to be around. Because like we've all said, and I hear Rogan say it all the time, the more shows, the better. Because then it causes this, like, free market agency. It causes, you know, like if fighters can't make it to the UFC or make it to Bellator, they have another option. They've got Ryzen, they've got One, they've got PFL. It's nice to have
options.
It's nice because if you think about it, right? If you think about it, the guys in if I wanted to when I decided like, hey, okay, I'm kind of like not feeling it anymore, and I wanted to go somewhere and still make a decent amount of money, I could have went to One, I could have went to PFL and had a chance of winning $1 million. You know what I mean? Like I could have done those things, and if you want to fight like a little bit lesser of guys, I felt like Bellator had still really tough guys. They had Chandler, they had Will Brooks at the time when I signed with them. They had, you know, Patricky, they had tough guys, Dave Rickles. They had good guys, you know, that I was like, okay, at 155, I'm going to have my hands full. Cool. I'm going to go there. You know what I mean? But you have just the availability to go to other shows, the PFL, you know, I'm sure they have tough guys as well. Some of them I haven't heard from. A lot of them are from, you know, the Russian area, and I have the Russia area. And so whether it's Kazakhstan or Chechnya or wherever it is, you know, like they're from areas where I've never heard of them, but that doesn't mean they're fucking not tough. They're fucking animals.
They're
fucking
good.
So good.
They're real good.
So good. And we're seeing that, you know, all across all of the MMA sports, you know, MMA organizations that, you know, that whole area of fighters that are coming in are really talented. You know, I don't know. I like I said, I hope the more promotions that survive, the better for us, for all of us.
But when you are looking at a company that is hundreds of $1 million in the red, that's not a good sign.
It never is. It never is. But I think they'll make it work. I mean, for everything I've heard from the people that work for them, nope, we're doing fine. I'm hearing everything's fine.
Okay, as long as they know they're fine.
Hey, as long as whatever. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Someone's got to be paying the bills.
Yeah, right. What else? Oh, there were some other fights that were talked about. Rosenstruck versus Dos Santos.
Well, your boy Frankie's fighting the prelim main event on that card we're just
talking
about.
That card.
Pedro Munoz.
Ooh, good fight.
Yeah, it is.
Good fight. Is that at 35, right?
Must be
135.
Yeah, 35. Yeah, because Pedro's at 35, and I know that Frankie was talking about going there. I wasn't sure if this was his fight there. Yeah. It's so funny. I always look at Frankie, and I remember, like, you know, I have like he looks so young to me when I first started training with him. But he's got a full beard now. He's got a fucking full beard, and he's got hair. He's always had like that nice haircut. No, he's got like almost a full head of hair now. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? No, that should be a good fight though. But that puts him right in title talk right away. If he gets a win over him, I wouldn't say give him a title shot, but it puts him.
Not going to be an easy win for him.
It's not. It's not. The speed's going to be a factor.
Tough one. Yep.
You know, I mean, like when you go down in weight, those guys get faster.
Yep.
Those guys.
Frankie lived off of being the faster guy, man.
Yep.
He would get in, get out. He would take down off of being faster. Now, it's not going to be fast.
It's hard to have a long career, you know, as a smaller guy because the speed kills, and those guys they see the takedown coming sooner. They see the big right hand coming sooner. They see everything coming sooner because they're faster. They got the faster twitch muscle. And as you get older, it's hard. You know, it's hard. It's hard to do it. And I don't know. He's the automatic first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, no doubt about it.
No matter how you slice it, he's
no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. I'm excited. I don't think he's ready to hang it up. I think he's one of those guys that wants to fight till the wheels come off, kind of thing. But you know, I've always been someone's like, yeah, if you can't get back to that title, like he doesn't have nothing else to prove. He's like the guy that has nothing else to prove. He won it at 55. Like you beat BJ Penn. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 times.
You have nothing to prove. You're the man, dude. You're the fucking man. Not because of that, but just, yeah, that is a big reason because of that. But you've got other reasons why you're the man. You know, so, what do you think about that fight? And just
a classy dude.
Yeah, he's so classy.
I think that's, you know, this is where it's hard for me because I always have certain guys that you go, man, was always just such a good guy and everything that he did. And I like Pedro. Pedro's a good fighter. You know, he's just getting better and he's tough. and I look and it's the matchup, and I go, yeah, it's Frankie Edgar, and I got to say Pedro's should be the favorite. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he should be. He should be the favorite in this matchup. His striking is good. He has got heavy hands. His submission game is outstanding. Wrestling wise, I give the advantage to Frankie, but that's really where Frankie's got the advantage as far as I would have given Frankie the advantage in the striking based upon movement and volume. I just don't think that his movement and volume is going to be touching Pedro that much.
Got it. He's got to mix it up with the wrestling.
Yep.
A lot.
He's got to bring the fight to the ground. He's got to use his wrestling. He's got to be on top and beat Pedro up to slow him down.
Yeah.
Now you want to stand up with him, go ahead.
Got it. I've always been that way, like a little bit of that. When you have someone who hits hard, you want to wrestle them to death.
Get those arms heavy.
Yeah, get those arms heavy, make them work. And then the pop and the speed and all that stuff, the explosive coming off of those punches is not what it used to be in the first when they were fresh. So,
and if you're not, getting them to wrestle, then I'll tell guys, hey, I want you to kick at his arm. I want you to hit his arm, and just throw kicks. Do the Andre Feely, but you're going to do it. Go to the well maybe a couple times too often, but make it to where that arm gets hit and just doesn't move as quick. Slow it down. It's just called smart fighting.
Yeah. Fight IQ. Frankie has it. He just got to continue to show it. We just got to see if the fight IQ can maintain with what the body can do. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, we left off with, we were talking about the Rosenstrike and Dos Santos. We were getting ready to talk about that, and we talked about Frankie.
You got that heavyweight fight, and you've got Curtis Blades against, I want to say Volkanovski. Volkov. It's close. Volkov.
Dos Santos and Rosenstrike. I go with Dos Santos. I think Dos Santos, the speed. You don't think so? I saw a little nod. No. I don't think Rosenstrike's going to be the same guy after that knockout he just suffered from Ngannou.
He might not be.
I don't think
he might not be. But one thing I know is there's a guy named Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
And he ruined a guy named Junior Dos Santos. And he's never been the same. And I love the guy, but he's just never been the same. And he just can't take damage for very long. He's just not as fast because of it.
Yeah.
And you keep looking at him as, hey, Junior, he's doing good. He looks good. That damage, man, that car has been crashed quite a few times. And so the wheels don't all go in the same direction.
The reason why I think that he's going to win, he's got a little bit more speed than Rosenstrike. Also, too, Rosenstrike, he doesn't fight at a fast pace. Junior moves quite a bit and makes it different angles.
He likes to cut angles.
He makes angles, and he can throw off those angles with the speed that he has to beat Rosenstrike to the punch. The key is he just cannot get hit. I think if he gets hit, one, maybe two solid times, that's fucking lights out. But I think the longer the fight goes, I think the more it favors Junior. Because when you watch the fight with Rosenstrike and Overeem, even though he finished him in the very last second or last 10 seconds, but he didn't look good in that fight. He was slow, kind of laboring, like he was very flat-footed, like he was waiting for, he finally was able to catch him in the last 10 seconds, but I had him losing the fight. He was losing for sure.
He was losing the fight.
Alistair was dominating the fight. So if you think in terms of like how guys fight, Junior does a better job of staying on the outside than Overeem does. And the boxing, Junior's got better boxing than Alistair.
Let's see. Hold on. What happened when Alistair and Junior fought?
I don't recall.
Come on.
But you said that he's not the same guy.
No, they're not.
He's not. So, I mean, like, I would say, like, I think Junior does a better job of sticking on the outside with his footwork, and he's able to get in and out, cut the angles. He's got faster hands than Rosenstrike to get him in there. Now, he just got to avoid getting hit, especially in the early rounds, in the early, first round, second round, whatever
There was one thing I always figured out in an MMA fight. Avoiding getting hit is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. I mean,
you're gonna get hit.
You are, but there's ways. There's ways to minimize. There's ways to minimize.
There's not. You're right. There's
The
ways
clean
to minimize.
shots.
There's ways to take power off of things, but all of those things take proper footwork, energy, and the ability to continue on throughout the entire fight doing it.
Well, if Junior was to be smart about it and fight him the way that Cain Velasquez fought him, I think that would make a big difference. If he was to press him to the fence, dirty box him, grind him down, make his arms heavy, like do those kind of things. I don't know if Junior is going to fight that way, but I'm saying that would be a good suggestion because Rosenstrike does not fight at a fast pace. He just kind of stalks after you and tries to land a couple big shots, and put your lights out. But if Junior was smart, he'd stay on the outside, wait for Rosenstrike to potentially overcommit on something, chasing him, and then get him to the clinch, press him to the fence, make him use his muscles, make him, make his arms and shoulders heavy and do what we talked about earlier for the bigger guys. I feel like when you have a guy who hits that hard, that's what we got to do. You got to press him to the fence. You got a dirty block, give him the Rene Couture treatment, So if you give him the business, maybe, I think it makes it a better fight for Junior. Not saying
let's talk about the trilogy fight. The trilogy. Come on, man. Your boy DC got his fight against Stipe.
Yeah, he got it.
What's the date of that fight?
I have no
August
clue.
11th.
Where's it at?
11th.
Vegas? Are they gonna do it at the Apex?
I'll find out.
That's gonna be weird, man.
Oh no.
I don't think they are. August 11th. Fight Island, probably.
Oh,
Well, it doesn't make sense. They're both in the US.
DC's
Why
probably
would- why?
because DC's probably like, let's go to Fight Island. DC's like, let's go. It's my retirement fight. I want to enjoy some vacation.
Sorry, August 15th, and it's the Apex.
Oh, the Apex. No one's
Yeah.
gonna watch. It doesn't make a difference. Um,
You happy?
yeah, I'm ready for him to be retired. There's a lot of things that I'm happy for him, man. I gotta tell you, when he first walked into the gym, and I'll tell the stories. His very first fight he ever had, Crazy Bob was in the back. They were getting ready to announce his name, and Bob, you could tell, was nervous. There's a lot going on, and DC's first fight, he'd only been training, I want to say, for like 3 or 4 weeks. He hadn't been training long, and they already had a fight for him, and so he's like, and no joke, in the middle of Bob kind of like pacing, DC getting amped up, and he just turns to Bob and goes, Bob, he's like, don't worry about this, man. I'm a fucking gamer when the lights turn on. When someone tells you that, your mind goes a little bit at ease. Like, okay, you're ready for this moment. Like, DC was a 2-time Olympian. Like, it's a pretty fucking big stage, and here he is fighting in this little podunk show with 700 people. It's like, I'm a 2-time Olympian. This shit does not scare me at all. I've gone over to other countries and wrestled in front of thousands of people where they want to kill you if you beat their guy.
That's true.
And so he's like, Bob, he's like, don't worry, when the lights turn on, I'm a fucking gamer. And that's something that resonated with me with him, and just progressively, just as we've been around each other, he's all the improvements, everything from the way he is on the mic, to the way he is with people, to the way he is with his opponents, to the way he is just period about the sport in general. Like, he's engulfed this sport and made it like his new thing. Before it was wrestling, but he always talks highly of wrestling, always talks highly of Oklahoma State wrestling, always talks highly of John Smith, always talks highly of everybody that he's been around. And I say that, like, people that are positive, it's contagious. If you continue to be contagious, if you continue to be positive, it's contagious. Other people will follow suit. And he just finds ways to attract people. And he'll give it to you real, though, too, when he needs to. But most of the time, it's a lot of joking around and playing around. I really feel that this is the perfect opportunity for him to have icing on the cake. Now, I don't know if he's going to get it done. As much as I would love him to get it done, okay?
Not an easy task.
And as much as people want to call me homers, fuck yeah, I'm going to be a fucking homer. He's my
okay.
he's my boy, and I'm going to continue to be that way. I'm going to cheer for him. I'm going to say he's going to win this fight. But I got to tell you, honestly, the age difference is a big deal. That scares me a little bit. The inactivity since his last fight, that scares me a little bit. The amount of weight he put on between that fight and this fight, that scares me a little bit. He's already getting his weight down. He already looks a little bit better. Physically, he already looks better. When I look at him, I'm like, oh, you have lost some weight, or you just shaved your head because you lost the battle with the hair. But either way, and I sent him a text telling him, like, oh, you finally gave up the battle, huh? You shaved your head? Because it was over years ago, brother. You tried to hold on to that shit too long. But when you're having these conversations with him, he like a beacon of light, man. He's funny about it. He loves it. There's never any negative energy out of him. And, you know, what you see is what you get. The way you see him on TV, that's who he is in the gym. And that's who he is, you know, with the boys when you're all hanging out. That's who he is when his family's around. Nothing changes. That's who he is. And whether he wins or loses, which I think he's going to win, but it's going to be a fucking barn burner of a fight. He's going to have to get his shit together, because the first fight was a fight that I think he surprised himself. And the reason why he surprised himself in there is because he was packing more power in his punches. He knew it, but he also knew he could out wrestle Stipe if he needed to. But it never got to that point, you know? But in the second fight, he carried that over and that worked against him. I think in this third fight, he needs to go back to his roots. And I think he's gonna. He's got some guys that are coming in and helping him, you know, wrestle, do a lot more wrestling involved. But he's got to still mix it up.
I saw he was working out with Kerry McCoy.
Yes, he was. You know, and I think he's going to be there. I think Kerry McCoy's going to be there for a little bit, helping him work out for a couple more weeks. So it's just, but periodically to get back and forth, you know, not every day. But there's going to be a lot of influence, I think, from a lot of the guys that he wrestled with in college and a lot of guys that he looked up to that are going to be coming in and kind of helping out and making sure he ends up winning and getting this thing, finishing on top. And I think for him, I don't want to say legacy because it's so overused. Legacy, but for him it really kind of solidifies him with the Olympics not going his way, like, you know, college wrestling not what he wanted it to be. This is for him. This is like that icing on the cake. Let me finish my career on top in this situation. I think there's a lot of things on his mind. He wants this so bad, fucking bad.
I understand that he wants it bad, but you have to be realistic about certain things. You can go back and take a look at his wrestling career at OSU. You know, he happened to be in a weight class that had a guy named Phil Sanderson.
Yeah.
Okay, who was the only undefeated wrestler 4 years in Division I ever. Yeah. Ever. Okay. Dan Gable didn't do it. The people say what they want. He had his one loss. Yeah. You know, and you take a look at what he's done in fighting. DC doesn't need to fight anybody. He's what, 22-2 now?
Yeah.
Okay, something like that. He doesn't need to fight anybody again. His legacy is set. He has accomplished more in MMA than he did in any other athletic activity he ever did, be it football in high school or college wrestling or even going to the Olympics, because he was a world champion in MMA.
He did it in this amount of time.
He was a multi-division champion in MMA. All right. And not only did he do it, you know, in a way that, like you're saying, he has an energy about, he's a winner.
Yeah.
He's just a winner, and he doesn't have to win again. The one thing that he does need to do
is wrestle.
He needs to wrestle. Oh, dude. And he needs to learn how to stop that left hand to the body.
Yeah.
Because that left hand to the body will take all of that good working that he's trying to do right now to get himself in shape, and it will punch a hole in his gas tank fast.
Yeah.
So go back and watch the setup of that hand and figure out, how do I defend against that particular technique? Because look at Stipe now figures he's got the blueprint on how to beat DC. I don't blame him. I would think the same thing.
That's not enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was here. Let me just give you this. It was enough for that second fight for him to knock him out.
Yeah. But it's not, it won't be enough this fight. It won't be. It does concern me though. You want to know why?
It will be if he doesn't change it.
He'll change it. He's gonna wrestle. He's
Okay.
gonna wrestle the fuck out of him. Is what he's gonna do. Problem is, in the middle of all this, at 41 years old or 42, he's 41. At 41,
wrestle
at
guys
41,
that are trying
it's
to
hard
punch
to
you.
wrestle the fuck out of someone when you're 41 years old. Your gas
That's
tank
right.
isn't the same as it used to be. So he needs to
Right.
make sure this fight may end up being a little bit boring because if DC gets him down, he doesn't need to stay active. He just needs to weather him down. He just needs to wear him down to the point where Stipe, when he gets back up, doesn't have the same pop on his punches, the same amount of power, the same speed. Because DC, even at 41, I don't give a shit. He's more athletic and he's faster and all those things than Stipe. Stipe is not an athletic person when you compare him to DC. Not even close. Even at 41 years old. And
He's an athletic person.
He is, but not against DC.
He's an athletic person, Josh.
Not against
Yeah,
DC.
yeah,
He's athletic, but not against DC. We were talking
He's
different levels
very
of being an athlete. Different levels. There's levels to this game. I recall that being said one time. And DC is a different level when it comes to being an athlete. Now, the matter of fighting that way is completely different. He needs to make sure that he fights smart. He took it for granted, I think, the second fight and just went out there thinking he could do the same thing he did in the first fight. I don't think you're gonna see that with him. I don't think it's gonna be a tough fight. But if DC fights to his ability and fights a smart fight, I think my personal opinion is, and no bias, my personal opinion is if he fights to his ability and he fights a smart fight, I don't think the fight's even close. But here's the thing. Will he do that? We don't know. Will he do that? I don't know. Even as his friend, I can't fucking tell you. I can't tell you. It doesn't matter. I can't tell you what he's going to do. As much as I want to see him wrestle, wrestling's fucking exhausting. I can say, yeah. And he could say, I'm going to wrestle. But trying to take Stipe down, even if he has never wrestled a day in his fucking life, it's still, even if it is easy, it's still a lot of work at 41 years old. Is a lot of work.
Doesn't matter. It's not easy. He's got to put out a lot of energy to make that happen.
Yep.
And in my opinion, other than what you're saying, if he just lays on top of him, that's not going to work for him. He has to do damage on the ground. He has to do things that puts Stipe in a position where he's being diminished throughout that round. He does that, he can win the fight. He just wrestles. Eventually, he's going to get tired of wrestling. And then here comes the body shot.
If he's on top of him, Stipe is going to be the one having to get up off the bottom. And DC's got some pretty good ground and pound. He's got heavy hips, obviously, from the wrestling background.
Obviously.
Stipe, I think like Stipe being on bottom, I don't think he's going to be able to get up from the bottom against DC. And if he does get back up, DC's going to keep that body lock, be able to return him back to the mat, and that's double the work for him to get back up. And these guys just don't. Heavyweight wrestlers are that's why I think that's why heavyweight wrestlers have done so well. Heavyweight MMA fighters just don't have the wrestling pedigrees. Not many do that have DC's wrestling, but Kane also. A lot of his success was like he could take the fight anywhere and had a gas tank like a son of a bitch. But
he had a gas tank.
These heavyweights though can't wrestle. And they can't stop wrestling, and they get exhausted trying to wrestle because they never had wrestling backgrounds like guys like Kane, guys like DC. There's, some of these other guys. Who's the other guy that's a good wrestler in the heavyweight division? Is it Curtis Blades?
No. Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is.
Yeah, so like those guys, they have success because the other guys they never really wrestled when they were younger, or they just don't have the wrestling pedigree that these guys have. So, I mean, look, like I said, no matter what, it's going to be a tough fight for DC.
It's going to be tough.
I think
he's got his hands full.
Yeah, he does have his hands full. He does.
And he needs to learn to stop that body shot, dude.
What was the other fight you talked about? Volkov and
Blades.
Blades. Is that on the same card?
Fight.
That's not on the same card. That's next week, huh?
Yeah. That's coming up next week.
Blades gonna get him out of there. Blade's gonna get him out of there. I think
so too.
He's gonna be able to take him down. He's gonna be able to threaten the takedown enough to where it opens up the punching.
I don't think he's gonna threaten the takedown. I think he's gonna get the takedown.
He will get the takedown. He definitely will. But I'm saying like that will also set up whatever he wants to do in striking and threatening the takedown. If he feints, he fakes a takedown and throws the overhand right. I can see it being lights out though too. So I could look at it a bunch of different ways. I think Blades dominates the fight from beginning to end. I mean, he's gonna have a hard time getting past that push kick a little bit. I think that push kick and that long jab, long right.
Well, he's got an 81-inch reach, so he's long. 6'6" 6'7" or so.
Isn't that crazy though? Like when you think about like Jordan had what, an 82-inch reach or something like that, 82 or 86-inch reach. You got Volkanovski or Volkov that has 81. That's nuts. Jordan was what, 6'6"? How tall is Volkov?
6'7".
6'7". Oh, I guess that's
The amazing part is John Jones is 6'4" and he's got an 84-inch reach.
Jeez, man. Insane.
You look at it going,
These guys, he's just
he was made to fight.
Yeah, he was. I
know.
His brothers though too, like all three of them, they're just made to be athletes.
Yeah.
You know, gosh, man. Oof. I'm excited for all the fights that are coming up. I can't tell you, like, what's the fight you're most looking forward to?
Max Holloway.
Yeah,
I want to see the rematch. Max Holloway against Volkanovski is the fight. That one is. I'm also interested in seeing Frankie against Pedro.
Okay.
I want to see what Frankie. I hope I'm wrong, and that's really what I'm saying is I'm not real sure about Frankie getting down into that 135-pound weight class because of the speed factor. I think he loses what was an advantage for him in the past because he's slowing down as it is. He's getting older.
Yeah.
And now that he's moving down into that weight class, hopefully I'm wrong. I've always enjoyed watching Frankie fight, but we're going to see, is 135 the weight class for him or is it? Nah, it's not.
It was very visible that he is slowing down when he fought Korean Zombie. It was very visible. Like he was having a hard time getting in.
It was visible when he fought Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Come on, man. At 145, you're going, God damn, man. Because as soon as Max figured out how to freaking take his attack, step off, pop, and hit him, Frankie was getting hit with shots that normally he never got hit with.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. That's part of fighting. That's part of, the whole game is you got to know when to pull it too. As you said, some guys want to do it till the wheels come off.
Well, I hope that you are wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
I hope you're wrong
too. I really do.
I'm looking forward to the Volkanovski and Max fight. That's definitely the one I'm looking forward to the most, probably out of all of them. And then, now that we've talked about it a little, I'm kind of looking forward to that Usman Burns fight. I like the Rose and Jessica Andrade fight, but I want to see the fact that they're teammates. There's a lot of what happens when let's say Gilbert wins. What happens at that gym? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a weird vibe. Like, maybe you guys have it all figured out at the gym. I find it maybe a little bit weird.
People say they have that figured out. You never have that figured out.
Until someone wins that they wasn't supposed to win. It's like, oh. So, I mean, there's some good conversation pieces there to be had. Some good conversations there to be had. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. We're on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube on weighing in, and that will share our videos to everyone. SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, all those.
It's not Google Play anymore.
Stitcher.
It's
called Google Podcast now.
Google Podcast now. Okay.
Oh, Google Podcast.
So Stitcher.
Honestly, if you have an Android phone, Google Podcast. If you have an Apple phone, iTunes. It's like the easiest place.
Gotcha.
And it's clean and it's tidy and it's.
But a lot of people have Spotify and like on there for music and stuff. So you guys can subscribe to us there as well. We would really appreciate it. On our YouTube channel, we're growing pretty fast and rapidly, and we owe it to you guys. So thank you guys so much. Hit the thumbs up. That shares our videos. It's funny. We have some people in the comment section like saying, hey, I'm getting sick and tired of your guys' videos popping up. So I finally clicked on, and I'm thankful I did, and thank you and this and that. So it's kind of nice to read all the nice comments because we get a lot of bad comments also. So I would like to, and normally the bad comments are directed towards me about how I treat Podcast Dave and and how biased I am and how much of a homer I am, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
It's okay. You can deal with it.
Every show needs a heel. And
is that what it is?
And you're looking at it right here. You're looking at it. Oh no. People like you. It's too much. You're too much of a legend. Plus you're what? Like 78, 79 now, right? You're getting older.
Don't start putting more years. I'll go with the backwards age of 75.
75. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Oh, ProWrestlingTees.com/
so it's actually /weighing in now.
Okay, so
hey Dave, do we have our new shirt out there?
Which new shirt?
One with the
No, we have a new design. I have some updates. I'm just waiting for that website. And then we'll launch the new shirt probably this week for next week's show.
All right. Well, exciting. So you guys check that out. ProWrestlingTees.com/weighing in. Is it weighing in show or weighing in? Weighing in. All right. So go there. You guys can check out the new shirts that are up. They should be up this week.
Get a shirt, take a pic, send it to us.
Yeah, get a shirt, take a picture in it. We'll repost it, retweet it, all those things. We just appreciate you guys tuning in.
Did you say we'll repost it?
Reposted it. Yeah. It's midnight here, man. Leave me alone. What is it?
It's midnight there. What time is it, man?
It's like 2:30.
Oh, it's only
3 o'clock.
It's only like 3 o'clock in the morning.
It's so
this
funny.
is good.
It doesn't matter how often we say that he's not drunk. There's always comments. Oh, he's torched. He's drunk.
Oh,
he's this. He's that. That's so funny. So we want to thank you guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys soon. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.